In the Gospel of John, chapter 9, we read about a miracle of healing. It involves Jesus and a man who was born blind. Even among miracles, it's unusual, and the whole thing is described in detail. In Jerusalem, there was a man who had been born blind and who depended totally on his family and friends. Jesus was also in Jerusalem with his disciples. They had seen the blind man, and this raised a question. Why did God let this happen? Was it a judgment from God? Rabbi, they said, who committed a sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? No, said Jesus, this was not a judgment from God, and God would turn this tragedy into something good. During his ministry, Jesus healed many people by a touch. But here in Jerusalem, he performed symbolic actions. With the dust of Jerusalem and the saliva of his own mouth, he anointed the man's eyes. Go, said Jesus, and wash in the pool of Siloam. The man had no idea who Jesus was, but he obeyed, and he went to the pool. The pool of Siloam in Jerusalem was the place where the priests filled gold jars with water for the temple, and to the Jewish people it symbolized the joy of salvation. As the blind man washed his face, the miracle happened. He could see. For the first time in his life, he could see. The pool of Siloam was a place of joy indeed, and God had given him light. How it had happened, why it had happened, he did not know, but he would give praise to God. But now there was a problem. The blind man had been healed on the Sabbath day, the day of rest. According to the Pharisees, Jesus had broken the rules about not working on the Sabbath. The Pharisees wanted to know how Jesus performed the miracle. The man told them, "He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and now I can see." Now the Pharisees could not agree among themselves. How can a man who is a sinner do such miracles? Yet he broke the Sabbath. What do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened. He is a prophet. Come now, said the Pharisee, tell the truth. We know this man is a sinner. There's just one thing I know. I was blind, and now I can see. The man who was born blind was not a priest, but he had more spiritual insight than some of the religious experts. The Pharisees knew from the scriptures that God is a God of mercy and compassion. But some of them focused their mind so much on the rules and regulations of their religion that sometimes they lost sight of the character of God. The disciples of Jesus were not much better. Rabbi, they said, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Some people thought that if the parents had sinned, a blind baby could be a punishment from God, or that even a baby in the womb could itself be guilty of sin. No, said Jesus, no. This was nonsense, and he would have none of it. The man who was healed understood one thing better than any of the experts. I was blind, and now I can see. For him, the mercy of God and the love of God was actually visible in Jesus Christ.